Hello, Norrathians. This is Vass. I am continuing to work on my Six Flags over Norrath build, and I have started recording so you can see what I'm going to work on. In the last episode, we worked on getting the wall in, making sure that everything was the same height. No gaps were showing. We did run into some glitches, but we'll deal with those later. Um, I did go through and finish up that because I did not finish up all the walls in the video, but they are all in place, all level, no gaps in between, reduced any shimmering if there was some shimmering. And today I've gone through and I've put in a few little items that will be going in certain areas of the park. And I have set up my first part of the pathing. As you see right here, I've got the first couple of rows of the pathing done, and all this is books. In case you weren't aware, books have a separate item count, so they do not count against your building block item count or your regular item count. It is a total separate count. So you can put just as many books as you can items and building blocks. So for the path, I thought that might actually help limit some of the items used. That way I could use the items and the building blocks for the actual ride construction and so on. Now before I get this path continued, I have one part of the path that I have to work around, which is going to be in the Kinos area. So I need to get basically a land marker, so I can work around that. Probably in the next video I will finish up that project. I just need to do a land marker for right now. The good thing is we can fly in here, so I can get kind of a bird's eye view to see where I want to put it in comparison to the other areas. I have an idea in mind. I just want to, and I've tested it a little bit and it does work. Not perfectly, but it does work. Sorry, my screen was pretty full, so I wanted to switch over to my decorator mode UI. Okay, so I want to put these in the exact same spot. So get my difference here. Copy the information from the fountain to the platform. And that platform is actually going to be massive, so let me scale that down. Let's try 2. Way too big still. 0.8. Better, not perfect. And that one's a little too small. I know what I'm doing right now makes no sense, but it will when you actually see me use these items. Okay, I think it's over to the right just a little bit too far. Let me move you out of the way over here. Okay, we'll select all these pieces, move them a little bit to get it new from diff. And that is west. Okay, I think that will work. I just don't want to cramp up Kellethan and New Hollis area too much with a big central focus in the Kinos area. Okay, now that I've got that in as my marker, this just keeps getting in the way. Now we'll start to work on the path. Get a fresh save. Now these books right here, this is one of them, Elements of Devotion. That is the brown book. And the reddish book is the Erican History Here and There. They can be purchased at the Mage Towers once you have done the quest, or the lore and legend in this case. see. The next thing that's unique about these two books, I think they go good together. The red book kind of looks like a red stone on the side. It also looks like brick pavers on the end, and then it also has this fancy diamond on the front. So I can use this particular book and keep the coloring the same throughout the park, but I can use it for other things to give, like, fancy details and brickwork and so on. And to me, this looks like a very nice path. It's not too dark, it's not too light. It goes well with the grass of the natural grass of the house itself, and it won't interfere with the theming of the other parts of the park. What's unique about these two books is, for this particular one, it rolls like that. For this particular one, it rolls like that. Very handy, because if you try to pitch something at exactly 90 degrees, it flips out, goes crazy, bounces back and forth because it cannot stay at that level. You would usually have to do it at like 89.897, something like that. You can't do it exactly 90 degrees. If you do, it'll just flip back and forth, flip back and forth. Very annoying. However, with roll, it works perfect no matter what angle you put it at. You will sometimes have collision interference, where whenever it collides with something else, it'll flip out. But other than that, it generally works perfect. So what I've done to get myself started here is I've set the path across, and I've barely got the red books overlapping the path, the actual brownish books. The reason why I did that is so if I have to curve or make adjustments, I can do that without the grass showing, hopefully. It might be too far out, but we'll see. I wanted to make sure the path was still wide enough. Okay, so I got the one row, and then I have another row right after it. Just wanted to see how they went together. You can see a little bit of discoloration where it meets, but I think it's going to be okay. So now what I'm going to do is continue the process. First thing I'm going to do is make sure I've done my save, and then lift these up. And these books are almost max size. The brown books are. The red books are a little smaller, so they're the same width as the brown. So they line up exactly with the brown. So I've got those lifted, and that's 4 brown, 4 red. I'm going to come over to here. Lifted my 4 brown. I use the smaller ones, that way I know the larger ones are the ones I want to copy from. The smaller ones are the ones I want to paste to. Got my 4 red, hit my second one, that way I've got the difference there. Load that up, and then I'm going to go over to the scale and sort it to make sure that the higher numbers are at the top. You could do it either way, higher at the top or the bottom, whichever you like to work with. I like to have it at the top, that way I know the ones at the bottom are the ones that are going to be copied to, and those are the ones that are being changed in game. All the other ones won't be changed. They just go back to the original position that they were in. So now it's just a matter of selecting the row, right clicking, copy layout info, and right click paste, and do the same thing for each of them. When you're doing a lot of these rows at one time, it can be confusing to where you left off. If that becomes a problem, you can always just reload and start over. If you think you might have done one twice or something, you can do that. If you are going through, you can look at your scale and know, okay, once I copy this one, I can come down and that one's the first one with the default scale of 1. So start there. And then here I've got my second one, copy that one, and find the second one. When you are doing large numbers, see there's that one, you can actually add notes, which I will show you in a moment. Okay, so I've got those all in. You can actually go over to the notes column and put 1, 2, 3, 4, so on. That way, whenever you copy it, you can have, well, I got these off, of course, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops. So then, whenever you copy 1, you just come down to the next one, if that makes it easier. That's just a way of keeping yourself organized. Something that I've done whenever I have full pages with a little scroll bar and I've got to go down and I'm copying 10 items at a time. Now, if you want to copy something like, let's say, this particular one, and you want to add it to 2 of the items, you can just copy and then select, hold down Control, select the next one. Then whenever you right click to paste, it will paste it on both. Another little tip is when you right click to copy here, you can come down here and you can drag your mouse to select. Or if you want to, you can do that first one, hold down Shift, do the last one, and it copies them. It does them all, selects them all. And then same thing, just right click and paste info. Okay, apply edits, save all. Load this up in the game, and they're all flickering because they're all in the same spot. Now I've got those 8, 4 brown, 4 red that are at the bottom. They're at the same spot that I can actually move forward. And that's why I have them at the bottom, is because once you've done any changes, those might not be easy to tell if you didn't sort the scale column by scale. So that's why I do it the way I do it, with the larger ones at the top, and then I know the ones at the bottom are the ones that are going to actually be worked with. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so those, we'll start out with moving at 3. And that other thing that I moved earlier, I had moved west, so we are going north with these. So I'll hit north, apply, save. Oops. Sorry about that. I hit those keys by mistake, which are actually my load, decorator mode, tour mode, and standard mode. So I need to switch these out again. Six Flags 1, Six Flags 2, and load Six Flags. Okay. Okay, so 3 wasn't quite enough, so we'll do another 0.3. And it will leave the last one that you had selected highlighted, which is a helper basically, a little tip to help you. It'll let you know that's where you started off, so, or left off. So I use that to start with. Now, of course, since that's my last one, the next time I come in here with the same files I'm working with, the same items I'm working with, that one's going to be highlighted. So a 0.3 north, not quite enough. And if I remember correctly, it's a weird number. So for those. Yep, too far. 0.1 was too far. And it looks like it was a little more than half. So we will do 0.04 south to bring it back. A little too much. Of course, this is just playing around with it, so if 0.01's not enough, I'll do 0.005. Little bit still flickering. And if you decorators are anything like me, you can get very picky with your builds, which is not good for people watching, because it can get quite boring sitting here watching me do this over and over and over. Almost. We'll do 0.002, which you don't have to change it. You can leave it at 0.001 and just hit it twice. Okay, better. Not perfect, but better. Okay. So I've got this one coming in, and I can copy this whole row of books and move all of them out here. That is where I was getting into the fact of it being a lot of numbers on there at one time. Question is do I have enough books placed? Let's see, there's 4, 8. Yeah, I've got plenty. So starting save. And if I was smart, I would have remembered exactly how much I moved it. And I don't. I could have wrote it down on a little post-it or something. I was going back and forth, so I didn't really keep up with it. But I know it was more than 3. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And my second. So as you see, I've got a scroll bar because I have so many. Do the same thing. Put all my big numbers at the top. And bear with me a moment. I will be concentrating as I'm doing this, so I might not talk as much. Four, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just glancing over to the right hand side to make sure that I'm putting it on one of the ones with a 1. Okay, those are done. Another little tip. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can grab the bar, make it bigger. So you know that this is where you're starting. Oops. Okay, and that was 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, save those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 16. As you see up here where it says main, it tells you how many are in your main window that you're working with, 32. Okay, so I moved the first ones 3 when I was just doing 4 at a time. This is double that. So let's do 6.24. Sounds close. Put a little asterisk there, that way I know where I am. North, apply, save, load, and pray. Okay, so it wasn't quite enough. So we will do 0.5 north. See how that goes. Lots closer. So I will do 0.01. Do I still have my decimal? Yep. 0.01 north. Might be too far. Nope, actually it's not quite far enough. One, two, three, 4. A little bit more. Okay, I've got my path going pretty good. Now that I'm looking at this, I might actually need some more space over behind here. So we will just move it 3 to the south. And this is all tentative, of course, because as I'm putting in the different rides, I might need more space for different rides, so I might have to move other rides around, which in another feature later on, throughout this build, I will show you how to group save items. That way, if you do want to use the design that you make in another house, all you have to do is get the items, the number of items of each different type, put them in your house, and load up the saved group into the layout editor and save all. Whenever you go to load it into the game, it will load exactly what you previously built. Now it keeps the locations also, so if you're in a different house and the location of the item that you saved was, at 000, the center point of that house, the center point of the house that you are putting it in, if it's not the exact same house, is going to be different. Let's see, right now I'm at a negative 41, negative 40. So I am pretty close to zero there. And up off the ground is 0 for the height. And trying to go exactly east might be a problem, especially since I'm looking down. And those are getting further, so it needs to go west. But you get my point. The 0, 0, 0 for the center point of a house is going to be different in each house. So if I had it in one spot in a house that was the exact center, it might be way over around this side here whenever I load it in. So I'd have to move it wherever I want it. But that will be for future episodes. Okay, so at this point, it looks like my path is going to be coming up beside this, which is good. I had something particular in mind. This might actually need to go. It might actually need to go to the east some more. I was hoping I wouldn't have to do that, but I think it will. Okay, so for this part of the episode, I've done the starting of the path, and I've got placement of one of the rides that I will be building. I am going to cut this video off right here, and in the next video I will actually build the ride, and which, if you could not figure out, is going to be the front entrance carousel. And after I build the ride, I will continue the path, which I plan on having the path curve around the carousel. So I will do that in the next episode. It might take a couple of episodes, but I will do that in the next couple episodes. Please leave comments, subscribe so you can see when I post new videos, and thanks.